and welcome to the Inspired Change Summit from Earth is Waking Up. I'm your host, Jeremy Anderson. Today our guest is Andrei Tarasenco. Welcome, Andrei.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. So Andrei Tarasenco is a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu black belt and champion, entrepreneur, husband, and father. While he's used ketosis as a performance aid for nearly a decade, he had two major turning points. The first was when his father nearly died from cancer. The second, when his wife became gravely ill. Both of these frightening events inspired Andrei's mission to spend years researching everything he possibly could about ketosis, low-carb lifestyle, and longevity. From detox to fat adaptation to diet, macros, supplements, biohacks, and more, Andrei was driven by a need to help his loved ones recover their health to become one of the top keto experts in the world today. His success in helping his father and wife overcome their life-threatening illnesses further inspired his passion for the power of keto. He realized that his life purpose lies in helping millions of others maximize their metabolism, boost cellular health, improve mitochondrial performance, and reach your highest potential for health through the power of the keto diet, lifestyle, and secrets. This is chapter 1 of Andrei's mission to help transform the lives of people all over the world. His personal success and the healing he saw with his father, wife, and hundreds of personal clients. Andrei's core values are that he believes everyone deserves to heal, he trusts in real research and science, he'll always be honest and integrous, he believes amazing health is your birthright, and he knows raising your energy will change your life. And in case you want to find him, you can find him on Instagram at KetoTutor. So welcome to the show again, Andrei. I'm glad to have you here. I'm glad to have gotten to know you a bit and share some of the experiences that we have.
Yeah, appreciate it for having me. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So you've got quite a background with the Jiu Jitsu. With I know you had some rough times through your childhood, through your growing up, as I have, many of us have. And I think, like a lot of the best experts, you've got certain experience in your life where your loved ones were sick, and you wanted to figure out, how can I help them resolve and get better? So can you talk a little about where you started, how you kind of got onto this path? Was it some of the jiu-jitsu where you're healing yourself, or was it more because you're trying to heal them? Like, tell us a bit about your story.
Yeah. Well, I've been a pro athlete for over 30 years. Originally, I started from boxing. I've been boxing since 6 years old, and then my career stopped around 19 years old, and then I had a small gap where I didn't train, and then I started doing jiu-jitsu 15 years ago. So yeah, I've been in sport arena for a while. My interest in the keto space started when my father was diagnosed with cancer, and it was over 20 years ago, actually, in 1998, I believe. The story was really something that touched all my family. So he came home and said that he has a stage 3 cancer of prostate cancer. Wow. And we started deciding like what we want to do. And we went, both of us, on long fasting. I did 44 days. He did 47.
Was it water fasting or dry fasting?
It was a water fasting. So we went on this long journey, and prior to this I had only a few times fasting experience. Never did that long. I had the longest one 5 days, and not really having much experience in that field, but I decided to give everything, and it was crucial moment for us, life-changing moment, I would say. We did this, and after third week we realized that he doesn't feel inflammation anymore. This is how he described it. Because his prostate size was as my 2 fists, just like that.
Wow.
This is how doctors said. So he starts saying to me that he feels a release, and he gave everything possible. So we realized that he actually started having way better feeling about his body after 4 weeks of being in fasting, and he felt amazing. He could kept going actually, but then we did some analysis, we did some lab work, and doctors were just amazed where he's moving and direction he took. So I'm usually saying we started with fasting and we maintained his health with a keto approach. So the year after the fasting, we marked as 1 year being full in ketosis. And my father, after 22 years, still alive, and
Wow.
he's free of cancer. So this is where everything started. I didn't plan anything in my life, and this is what happened, and it led me to start studying and learning about this topic, why actually fasting helped him. And I realized this stage of deep ketosis actually was one of the mechanism, I will repeat myself, one of many mechanisms that helped actually him to heal himself.
Yeah, the body has its own innate understandings and abilities on how to heal when we give it the tools or stop giving it the toxins, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And my father was quite healthy person, I have to say. So why this happened, we don't know. But fasting helped him, and then ketosis was a second approach that he maintained his health for many years. And right now, he's more a fat adapted person, where he's doing a carb cycling and feel amazing. And from time to time, he actually goes and on fasting, and I believe twice a year he does this religiously right now, between 2 and 3 weeks.
Uh-huh. A water fast again?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
How did you guys discover the water fast and then keto?
Ah, that's a really nice question. At that time, we didn't have much information. The Paul Bragg, I believe his name, the only book
Oh yeah,
was,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, the fasting miracle book. I've got
yeah,
that. And
exactly. So
apple
Paul
cider vinegar.
Bragg, my
Supplement.
father, like he read that book. It was just tiny brochure like that.
Yeah.
The funny part about that book is that he was inspiring people to go on fast, but not so much information was giving people how to fast properly, what is the best way to get out of the fasting, because it was just one mechanism which actually in majority situation not applicable for everyone. Right? You don't want to go and spike your insulin like crazy after like even a week of fasting. So I'm not saying even 47 days. So yeah, but it still was good for an inspirational and do and try and do all these things. So this was our actually the only source that inspired. And
Wow.
uh, for the keto, I started researching what fasting does actually, and we didn't have Google at that time, so it was more a library thing. And I had this wonderful conversation with one of neurosurgeon who described to me the mechanism he believes was crucial for my father being in the fasting zone. And he said, I believe it was ketosis that eliminated his inflammation. And this is where I started doing research. And after many years, actually, what shifted me was a book, Cancer as a Metabolic Disease. It's actually a PhD work. It's a 1,500 pages a book. You can buy it on Amazon, quite expensive one, where the author is describing the mechanism of controlling your insulin as the main role for uh, control cancer.
Wow. Wow. Um, so you found that in the library. Was that in Russia back then?
Well, this particular book I found, I believe, 5 years later, but my journey of discovering uh, ketosis was very unusual for other than other people. So what I did actually, I went to libraries and I started reading different books related to the ketosis, and all of them were like basically medical books. Not so many authors were talking about this, and what I found is a pattern that was described in those books that has to do with controlling insulin. And I came to a conclusion I actually want to see how people used to live, because it looks like what we eat and how we live is is the main question we all have to ask ourselves in order to be healthy. So I went to the countryside and I started interviewing people, and the criteria I was looking for as old as possible. So all people I interviewed were over 90 years old. So imagine it was 1999, I believe. So people who were 90 years old, people who actually were born like before the First World War.
Wow.
And I discovered so many interesting patterns. For example, those people, and I interviewed, by the way, over 700 people.
What?
Yes. And I discovered that people were not eating breakfasts, especially men. People used to wake up with chickens and basically with sunrise, and then go to the bed when chickens go to bed with the sunset. And this is lead me to so many different directions, like hormone disbalance, sleep apnea, like so many things. And I realized that actually by controlling your insulin in the morning, you control many stress hormones that helping you to eliminate your um, inflammation in the body. And later on, I discovered that actually this natural way of uh, skipping breakfast for a few hours, helping your body on a different scale, on a huge level, where you actually control your mind, you control your weight, and you actually control your hormones. And you control your hormones in a way you have a balance with your hormones.
Interesting. Yeah. So that plugs in as well to our stress levels and habits. I think I've noticed a lot of times when people don't have habits, their stress levels are higher because they don't know what's going to happen next, or what they're going to have to, what fire they're going to have to put out, or this or that. And habits is also something that you've helped people to establish. How do you, can you talk a little about that? How you help people get established with some new habits, create change in their lives?
Absolutely. Yeah, habits, my favorite word when it comes to uh, helping people, supporting them in their journey, whether this be health, weight, or business, or relationship. It's all about our habits, by the way, that we build during our life. And I believe those people that I interviewed, they just had these habits that they built, being in a culture where people don't eat in the morning, people don't eat much when they go to the bed, and they uh, control their life by habits that they unconsciously do. So when we understand this, the next question, how we build the better habits or right habits for us in our life that will lead us to be successful or to be happy in our life. And number one habit I like to have in place is actually a habit of controlling your life. And I like to talk about controlling life by having different pillars in place. number one is how you sleep, because I believe magic happens during the night. You basically almost dying every single day. Think about that. You go to the bed and then you unconsciously leave. Yeah, you have some dreams, you have something happening, but it's not the same conscious as you have during the day. And then people saying, if you have something to do in the evening and you have to make major decision, you better go to the bed and make this decision tomorrow morning. And it's really has to do with so many things that magically happening inside of our body. So when you build a habit that starts from how you sleep, you understand that your recovery, the major recovery, happening during the night. The next step or next pillar has to do with how you function during the day. In other words, your exercise, your movements, what exactly you need to do in order to feel great. Your muscles, your overall body, and it has to do with complex approach to your exercise. And by the way, not so many people understand, but you need to be smart when it comes to exercise, because there are not so many exercise we do actually beneficial for us. For example, running is not beneficial exercise. People call jogging. So when you run or jog on long distance for a long time, it's like almost putting your car at 5,000-6,000 RPM for an hour. And I can prove this. Just Google long distance runners and versus short distance runners. You're destroying ability to release properly your human growth hormone. Not only human growth hormone, but human growth hormone plays major role during your recovery time during the night. When you jog, often you actually can experience some downside for many aspects of your life, especially with the human growth hormone. So exercise is really, really important, but you have to be smart there. The third pillar is how you eat and what you eat and when you have to eat this. And it's again, you asked me about habits, right? Everything I'm describing has to do with habits. And when you build them, you first doing this consciously, and then you move to the level when you have unconscious lifestyle, when all your habits already presented and you do them almost unconsciously. So I described sleep habits, exercise habits, what you eat, dieting, and the fourth one, how you control stress. And this is the huge one, because I believe everything special during this time of our life, stress habits or how you do stress management will identify if you're really successful in your life. Because you can have everything you can just imagine in your life, but if you don't know how to handle stress, you can die at any time, or you can be collapsed at any time. So controlling stress is a very complex approach. It actually has to do everything prior to the stress habits: how you sleep, how you exercise, what you eat, if you have good balanced sex life, what relationship you have in your life, and how you build relationship with people, what kind of leader you represent in society, because I believe leadership is a huge part of this. It's all lead towards how you're handling stress. And a few other aspects relating to stress that has to do with building your stress resistance. Because from the very beginning of having stress in your life, you can have many mechanisms presented how you're handling this stress, and then at the end of the day you see at your stress as just a part of your life that was yesterday, and you already see this as just a temporary moment, and at the end you just see, wow, I was able to handle this. But in order to say this, you need to build habits.
Yeah. So,
Does it make sense?
yeah, can you talk about stress levels and how caffeine plays a role?
Yeah, absolutely. There are so many different opinions on that side. My opinion about caffeine, or even coffee specifically, coffee can be beneficial for you, caffeine included, as well as can be very toxic for you.
Yeah.
And it's, again, some people um, drinking coffee or consuming caffeine without really understanding how much harm they do for their body, just because their adrenal glands probably are not ready for this, and they're just overloading, and then just by eliminating caffeine in their life, great things happening. So you just need to know your body first and feel your body in order really to understand how to use caffeine. I've been using caffeine for decades, especially for my sport performance. But again, it's not about caffeine on its own. It's how you use it and when.
Uh-huh.
So I believe it can be really beneficial for you. And at the same time, if you overdose with this, or you don't know your body and you consume it and it's affect your adrenal glands, it's can affect everything, and it's actually can disbalance everything in your body. And I see this. I just recently spoke with one of my friends who's a quite successful athlete, and he constantly overtrained. And then when we went over his lifestyle, we realized actually so many aspects of his life leading him to just having stress, and caffeine was a huge part of that. Now, it's not that easy actually to eliminate caffeine in your life when you're consuming caffeine on a daily basis in a huge amount. But one thing I'm always saying to people, almost everything is possible when it has to do with get rid of bad habits or building new habits. You just need to have an adult approach to this. So let's talk exactly about the caffeine and how to build healthy habits by eliminating caffeine in your life if it was something that was negatively affecting you. So there is an evidence, um, scientifically proved one, that you can get rid of bad habits or build new ones if you go for 66 days and do something every single day. Um, so let's assume we're parents, which we are, right? And we always saying our kids, well, don't do this or do this, and this will help you. And we teach them this. So when it comes to learning something for ourselves or build something for us, we have to have the same approach. We have to teach us, okay, now I'm going to go and do something for 66 days, and no matter what, I will do this. You see benefits after 9-10 days actually, um, by not drinking coffee or not consuming caffeine. If you had an issue with caffeine right away, and I see this, even my wife, she experienced this. But after 66 days, magic things happening. Now you're not really dependent on this. Now you can reintroduce caffeine back to your life and beneficially reintroduce this.
Uh-huh.
You can start using caffeine in a way you consciously understand why you're using this and when.
Uh-huh. Wow. So yeah, you kind of get beyond the addictive use of it and reintroduce it more intentionally and carefully, and not just like drinking a whole pot every morning, but maybe half a cup or something. Do you have any guidance around how somebody would consciously use it more intentionally?
Yeah. So there's a procedure I like to do. It's not really extreme one. It's just, again, it's an adult approach. When I ask people to let them do this for 66 days, we eliminate something they really enjoy in their life.
Yeah.
And usually it's coffee.
Yeah.
And then we build accountability approach to this, where you do this with someone, not by yourself. And it's actually very good for weight loss too. When you on a weight loss journey and you build something, to have an accountability partner is a huge part of success. So when you go for 66 days eliminating coffee, you every single day with different affirmations, you telling yourself, I'm doing this for myself, and I'm doing this for my own benefits. And this will lead me to be a better person, to be a leader, because I could do this. I could eliminate this in my life. And this lead you to actually building a strength in your character and building habit to do anything, and you can accomplish anything in your life when you do something like that. Another mechanism I like to implement is actually doing something physical for 48 hours. I'm not saying running. Some people implementing running. Yeah, you can run marathons, and people do like running marathons for 40 minutes or 30 minutes, and then you stop for an hour, and then you run again. I like to do some other stuff. If you're Brazilian Jiu Jitsu practitioner, you basically roll and you stop, you roll and you stop, and you sleep only for 2 hours, and then you put alarm clocks to wake up and do this stuff again. So you do something for 48 hours without really long sleep. You're allowed to sleep only 2 hours in a 12 hours period. So it leads you to something. You telling yourself, I did this. I accomplished something that was quite stressful and almost impossible to do, but I did this. So next time, when some hard time coming in your life, you actually have something built inside of your brain. Some neurons made a road that leading you to a habit of success. Why? Because you accomplished something during hard time. Now you have this habit that I did this. I can do this again. And everything that's coming in word of hard time, possible to get through. So when it comes to 66 days, it's even better because you eliminate only one thing in your life that you were so addicted to. And after 66 days, you already have this inside of your lifestyle.
Huh. Interesting. So it seems like most people may not have as much of an idea, but as a pro athlete and competing with the jiu-jitsu, you've had some experience with some extreme measures like this to create new habits. And with all the people you've coached, can you talk a little about how who you've coached and what you've coached through generally?
Yeah, so I've been coaching people with their life primarily, and it has to do with achieving goals in their lives or losing weight. I like to say losing fat because not always you're losing actually fat. Sometimes people saying I lost 5-7 pounds, and I'm always asking, are you sure you lost fat? Maybe you lost muscles and water. Yeah, I've been helping people with their life success, business success, success in relationship. I've been married to my best friend, and I was same woman for 22 years. We have wonderful 3 kids, and it's naturally happened. So after my father was diagnosed with cancer, I learned a lot of things about keto, and then I learned actually that keto can help and benefit you with controlling your weight. And then I understood this actually can be very nice mechanism for your sport performance. Then I realized it actually can help you be healthy. And then during this time, I was building my network around me, and I discovered that people started reaching out to me, saying, "Well, Andrei, how do you do this? We see you. You have harmony in your life. You have wonderful family. You're quite successful athlete, and you running few businesses. How do you do this?" And people start asking and reaching out to me, and it's naturally happened. I was helping people, and then people start outreaching me from man world, asking Andrei, I want to be a better father. I really want to be a successful man. I have these issues or that issues in my life. And I just was sharing my thoughts on this. And I realized so many patterns or so many common things happening from person to person. And it led me to huge realization in my life. I never liked to be a guru or a person who pretend that I can I teach a life overall. I just want to be humble in that direction. But if I can share some thoughts and they can lead you towards aha moments, or they can open some new opportunities in your life, and my feedback can lead you to success or being happy, I'm always open to do this.
Wow. So you coach people on a bunch of things, habits, goals, being happy, successful, um, and even business, right?
Absolutely.
Can you talk a little more about what all you coach on and how you like to help people? Because the weight loss stuff that I've seen on your Instagram, there's some impressive pictures on there. People losing couple hundred pounds in a year. Wow.
Well, when you cross certain line in your life and become a habit, it's already a game habit. Like you want next level, and when you see a result and you see this is wonderful approach, this is how most of the people get into the really unreal results, because it's just never stop process. And if you know how to handle this, you definitely getting wonderful results. So getting back to your initial question about the business, I've been in the business for over 25 years, believe it or not. Like, I've been entrepreneurial mindset person since I was 6, 7 years old. And I've been in the business consulting for 15 years, and I'm leading few companies right now. And for me, at this moment of the life where people are stressing out, especially for those who having offline businesses, um, uh, giving me food for thought that I can help even there, because I've been in different projects. I used to own projects that serve um, oil industries, or restaurants. I used to own businesses in trading space, and right now I'm helping people to succeed online, as well as having my own projects online.
Yeah. So as far as coaching, so you coach people in getting started in business?
Definitely. Here's a very interesting fact. Um, Usually, it's not an easy task to coach people who wants to start a business, because there is no magic formula to start a business. You have to go and start this. It's like same thing with weight loss process. You just need to start this.
Yeah.
And usually when people are approaching me about some startups, I helping them for free. I'm not really in a position to make money with startups unless this is a really serious project and I see people have some business experience and we can have like a partnership approach or something like that. But usually I enjoying to have a real business relationship where I consult people with businesses that already have some history in place, because then it's only about really implementing my experience if this is applicable and by tweaking a few things. And sometimes, it's just some blind spots. You just don't see them just because you never went through them. And by just placing something into your business or by implementing something in your business, some magic can happen. And I've seen this so many times. So I'm enjoying to help people with a process that already has some business experience in place or some history in place.
Yeah, it makes a difference so that you're not coaching somebody that is still trying too far in the beginning when they don't have enough going, right? It helps to have something established to work with.
Yeah, with the startups, if it's just first startup in your life, I like to talk with those guys, but being their a business consultant, there is no reason because like it's basically like telling them go and learn how to open a shop or how to get the license. Like you can get all this information online. Like when it has to do with how to optimize your business, this is really a different topic. This is where the real experience need to be in place, and it's hard really to get just this information from online without really having one-on-one experience with coaches.
Yeah, kind of like the difference between working with a newbie that's an aspiring entrepreneur and with a CEO. It's a little different.
Exactly. Yeah. If you want to have a surgery, right? You ask what is the experience of surgeon, and you're hearing this is actually like my first time. You be concerning.
Yeah. I would be pretty nervous, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, so as far as let's see, we talked about a bunch so far. So community. So you've got a community. How is this helpful for supporting people in whatever they're trying to do? And what else involved in that community? Is it like a health consciousness community, or is it like habit creation or business or kind of blend? What is this? What else there?
Yeah. So my community names is Keto and Beyond. So I came up with this name just because so many different directions I have described to you, right? That has to do with my community. So keto is just one of the pillar I used to help people, and many other things that I described presented in that community. So it has to do with health, has to do with your emotions and your overall life success. It could be a relationship success, could be parenting success, or leadership success, as well as business success. So it's more sharing information, giving feedback, and leading just by communicating with each other. And I definitely see benefits when an exchange happening between people.
Yeah, for sure. It makes it more real, and we feel supported, we feel heard, all those things.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And is there any particular area of interest that you are most excited about?
Yeah. At this time, I believe stress is a huge part. And I believe I can share my knowledge how to handle stress and how to have actually positive thoughts in your life. And it doesn't matter what topic we can approach here: weight loss, business, relationship, leadership, you name it. If I would be able to support you there, I'd be more than happy to do that, for sure. Especially when right now so many people I see lost and panicking. It's just your choice. Believe me, it's our choice what to do during stress time.
Yeah. Yeah. Mindset makes a huge difference.
Exactly. Yeah. So mindset for anything you do in this life um, is actually your success.
Or failure. Yeah. It makes all the difference.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been working on it as well, just noticing whenever there's something that doesn't seem like it's really supportive, like asking, wait a minute, what is this? Where did it come from? Is it helping me get where I want to go? No? Okay, out. How can I transform that into a different thought that might actually help me get where I'm trying to go?
Yeah.
So it,
Yeah.
it, it sounds like that's something that you're probably good at working on with your clients in all those areas because they all require that.
Yeah. You cannot take one out of other one, and it's not being disfocused. It's actually just combination of life experience that I have in my life, and just people approaching me from all these areas, numbers of people, and I see so many patterns related to every aspect of this life, and I see quite nice, good approach that I've been able to develop during so many years communicating with people. So I'm definitely quite confident in this field, and I'm definitely believe I can assist you and support you during this time with all these aspects of your life.
Great. Now, can you tell us about your offer, your session that you'd like to offer people in whatever it is that they're looking to be supported on?
Yeah, I like a really personal approach. So you can find me on Instagram. I'm a KetoTutor on Instagram. Just direct message me there. Say that you came from this wonderful summit, and we'll start from there. And my offer is very simple. I will help you, or I will guide you to build your own plan for next 66 days to build your wonderful habit that will lead you to success in your life.
That's pretty amazing. And so, uh, how much is this offer?
It's for free.
For free. So for an hour session, that just sounds really generous to me. And so I love to be able to offer this to the listeners and that you're willing to do that. Are there any catches?
Well, no. We it's straightforward. um, I believe we need we need to support each other right now, and I'm willing to show how we can do this by giving people, and I'm definitely enjoying doing this, and I believe I have all ability and power right now to share my knowledge with people during this 1 hour session, and I believe you will enjoy the process.
Great, great, great. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should ask while we're on. Um, let's see. Uh, and anything else you'd like to talk about while we're still on?
I just would like to say a few things. Find out what is your faith during this time, and decide what are your beliefs, like what really holding you in this life and this earth, and this will be your start point, and think positive, like, There are so many things I could say here, but being positive is actually a key. And there are many tools you can do, like real tools, real exercise, how to build this actually habit again, being a positive person and have self-positive thoughts in your life, because this is so important. But try to concentrate on your faith and being very positive during this time of your life.
Yeah, that matters in all areas. Any tips on how to be more positive, how to shift that habit?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll be practically speaking here. I'll give you a few exercises. So with every exercise, I'm not going to go and dive deeper why this is happening. I'll just demonstrate to you what you can do. So number one, when you wake up in the morning, right away, jump on your heels and start jumping as much as you can. And let's say it will be 25. I'm jumping without really counting for 2-3 minutes, depends. And I do like probably 200-300 jumps.
Super good for your health anyway. The rebounding.
You will notice in a week that it's affecting your brain. You're waking up way faster, and it's actually, believe it or not, but it's massaging your brain from an angle your brain never was massaged before. It's affecting brain from the bottom up, and magic things happening there. So it's number one thing, and it's actually by doing this and following positive thoughts. So if you like to meditate, please do meditation. If you're pray, please pray right after this exercise, and you will notice, if you've done praying or meditation before, that after jumping on your heels, your praying and meditation will be way different than it was before. So next exercise has to do with breathing techniques. There are many breathing techniques I can teach you, but I'll just teach few. So I believe breathing can lead you to so many control of your life. Emotion control, number one. But start of your day and building the proper habits has to do with this exercise too. So you start from inhaling 4, count 4, then hold for 2, and then exhale for 4, count 4, and then hold for 2, and then again inhale, and etc. And then you do this for 1 week, and then slightly elevate by 1 second. So if you be like inhaling for 5 seconds, then you hold for 3, and etc. Exhaling for 5 seconds, and you hold for 3. So you want to do this with the next numbers. So it's like 1 cycle. When you inhale and you exhale and you hold, it's a 1 cycle. So do 9 cycles of this right away after you jumped. And you can do the same exercise before you go to the bed. Actually, it will help you actually specifically when you go to the bed. It's actually will help to dissolve your cortisol and actually release your serotonin and many other things. But
it won't wake you up right before sleep?
Well, it has to do with many things happening inside of your body, but I just don't want to go deeper in explanations. I want to share more exercise. So next exercise you want to do right after this is actually slight beating of your forehead, starting from here, and then you go on your sides, and then you go behind your ears, then you come back, you come here, and as you do this, you want to talk loud in a positive way, an inspirational way about yourself. Many people call this tapping techniques. and you say, for example, Andrei, you're the wonderful person. You're the only one who deciding in your life. And I'm deciding to be a positive person. I'm deciding to be a great leader for myself, for my community, for people around me. And this is actually teach your brain. When you're saying this loud in front of the mirror, it will lead you to some magic things in your life. Now, next you want to do is cold shower. It's we're already going towards biohacking things, but I'm just describing you part of the habits I'm always trying to help people to build because they're successful habits.
Yeah.
And a cold shower could be a start of contrast shower when you do something for 5 seconds cold and then 5 seconds hot. And then you slightly elevate next, then 6 seconds or 7 seconds, and then you build. It's up to you how you want to build your tolerance to this. But this is again, it's a hormones game, and it's again building some habits by going through some uncomfortable feelings. This is crucial to go to the uncomfortable feelings. Now, when it comes to building your eating habits, let's assume you want to eat less or you want to build a proper habits of eating. I'm always suggesting to count how many hours you don't eat and how many hours you eat. So let's say you don't want to eat before the bed, and actually you don't want to eat before the bed just because you don't want blood goes towards your stomach during the time you sleep, right? You want a really proper recovery during the nighttime. So let's say you go to the bed around 10 o'clock, means like you want to stop eating around 6, 7. And now you start calculating from that time how many hours you don't eat. So if it's 12 hours start point and last time you ate was 6, and then the first meal of the day will be at 6, then you can start tweaking and playing around. If it's 12 hours, your goal you put in front of you, maybe it will be 18 hours or 20 hours window, which I really like, especially for men. And you build this by having a notebook and you saying every single day, okay, today is 12 and a half hours window. Tomorrow it's again 12 and a half hours. Maybe it's for a week. Okay, next week I'm building 13 hours. Next week, 14 hours. Because you build slowly, but you build a right way. And this is what I like to implement as well. So stuff like that. And there are many other techniques and mechanisms we can implement. I even didn't go the supplement world, which I believe is really important, but very dangerous too. So you have to know how to supplement, what supplements you want to have in your life, other supplements you can combine together. By the way, I have over 10 years in supplement business, where you see many things people teaching, and majority of them are actually wrong way.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I like what you said about the eating habits and extending the non-eating window, because I also practice intermittent fasting, and I typically go 16 to 19 hours between meals at night.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that it's really stabilized my body's ability to go without food. So instead of feeling hypoglycemic or like I'm having a crash and I need something to like pick me back up, it doesn't happen. Even if I'm hungry, I'm still steady. Yeah, how does that work for people that have hypoglycemia or diabetes? How do you address those? It's kind of another topic, but I'm just curious. Can they also do the intermittent fasting? Can they work their way?
Question. Well, again, we usually, and I had many people actually with these symptoms, issues in their lives. You definitely want to see a blood work first in their life, and sometimes it's really important to start from see for how long they had these issues in their life, what habits they build during their life. But what we described could be wonderful mechanism to change their life, actually, by slightly and slowly changing their habits and bringing them towards a healthy lifestyle. It's not always a promise that they will get rid of all these issues in their life, but they can get them under control, which is almost equal to being healed. Because look at my father, 20 years later, over 20 years later, and he's cancer free, but who said he can't have cancer again? But he just has his life under control. So with people with those symptoms, we look in so many aspects before we making conclusion what road we want to go. And I'm usually saying there is no one technique that's applicable for everybody, right? And especially when it comes to intermittent fasting. I'm a believer that intermittent fasting is good for men and not that good for women. Yeah, I when I interviewed women over 20 years ago, old women, old ladies, and I realized they actually started eating way earlier than men. So let's assume they were waking up together with men and women at the same time, and it's 5 a.m. So what I noticed, men would eat that first meal of the day around 9, so it's like 4, almost 5 hours window. When woman, she will start eating within 2 hours window, so it's around 7:30 usually would be their first meal of the day. And it's all again about life habits they have. Men usually used to work hard and go on the field somewhere, so they didn't have time to really prepare food or eat. And women, they stay home and taking care of kids, and they have to do something. So they were preparing food for kids. By the time kids waking up, they would eat with them together. So it's in their DNA. By eliminating right now habits, you can see, and I saying this because I know so many women go on intermittent fasting. Not all, but majority of them could have hormone disbalance, especially for women in the perimenopause and menopause time.
Right. So, and balancing hormones is another whole aspect that I mean, we don't need to get into that unless you've got anything you wanted to cover on it.
I have you. I bet you have a wonderful expert in the role of David Rosensweet. That's
I do.
way more experience in his life about hormone balance.
Yes, he's also on the summit, Dr. David Rosensweet.
Yeah.
Does the menopause method, and the new name for it that he announced on the interview was Hey Lively. So I think it's a great name. So yeah, very good with the hormones balancing and with an organic carrier oil base
Yeah.
instead of all the harmful other toxic bases that are used most other places. So anyway, okay, great. Any final words of wisdom or anything that people that might want to work with you would like to hear?
Yeah, absolutely. If you listening to this and something resonates with your heart right now, don't procrastinate because life is short. Outreach to one of us experts on this summit, and I'm definitely a big believer that accountability partnership is what can lead you to success in any area of your life. And usually those who has experience already in life with many people in the field that you're looking for as a support can lead you towards your success.
Great, great. All right. Well, thank you so much for doing what you do, for sharing this, and for a free offer. I mean,
Awesome.
that's pretty awesome to just be willing to uh, coach someone through for an hour just to help them kind of have a better whatever they're working on in life, whether that's weight loss or health or business or new habits, positive thinking, or so forth. So thanks
Thanks for
again.
having me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. And thanks again to the listeners. Much love.
Thank you. Bye-bye.